Curtain Network.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, we are back. Yes, I said last night when we were on the postgame show, maybe this won't be the last one. And there were a lot of doubters out there. There were a lot of people that didn't believe that it would happen. It happened, and it happened early. I get to be up for this because if this was a Sunday night game, you all know, the people on the screen right now, I would not be up for that. But let's welcome Dave Schofield. I'm Jeff Hartman, Dave Schofield, and Bryan Davis. Dave, they're in.
I know. This was driving me crazy. I knew I was going to be too nervous. I had to actually go pick up my daughter from a weekend retreat. Yes, I was able to venture out because the snow in our area is cleared up and everything. But I'm watching Red Zone on my phone until finally I come home and I watch the goal line stand on live TV. And I'm like, all right, I couldn't sit. I'm wandering around. I knew it wasn't their last chance, but you knew at that point it was a really good chance. That it's like, wow, it would have to be a touchdown, a 2-point conversion, and an overtime. It was just, who cares? The Steelers get to play another game. I get to watch another 60 minutes or more of the Pittsburgh Steelers play this year, and I will take it no matter what.
Absolutely. Bryan Davis, welcome to the show.
I'm so glad to be here, fellas. This feels good. I don't care what you think they're going to do in the playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers are in the playoffs, and that's part of the goal every single year because anything can happen when you get into that dance. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I was very nervous about this game. I never expected this. This was just the game I was watching just in case. I expected, and when I saw a couple guys like Waddle and a few guys from the Miami Dolphins out tonight as far as receivers and thinking that Chase Claypool might have to help us out here, I was really concerned. And especially towards the end when that interception happened and you had the way they mishandled the end of the first half, the Titans, I was thinking, what, here it goes. I guess I'm going to be up late tonight. Now I don't have to be up late tonight, and I am feeling good, and we're celebrating right now.
Absolutely. And let's get this out of the way first, because a lot of people, there's people on my Twitter timeline, because I'm super excited. I went outside, and my kids are outside playing. I yelled, they're in the playoffs. I'm super pumped. And there's people like, well, TJ's not going to be ready. They're going to get killed. Can we please just enjoy this for 5 freaking minutes before someone throws cold water on it? Like, yes, TJ Watt, his brother JJ put on Twitter this morning that he has a grade 2 something. I think it's a grade is how they do it. Yeah. MCL sprain. He's going to be out a couple weeks. He's probably not going to be available, which sucks. But at this point in time, I'm not about to think about the negative. I'm only thinking about the positives. But let's talk about what can still happen for the Steelers. They are in the postseason. They have punched their ticket into the playoffs as a 10-win team. Seedings, though, can still change. If the Buffalo Bills, who also punched their ticket to the postseason, if they win tonight, then the Steelers would be the 7th seed. Am I correct?
If the Bills win, then the Steelers are the 7th seed.
And they go to Buffalo.
And they would go to Buffalo.
If Miami wins, then the Steelers are they go to 6th seed, and they could go to Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Bryan, which do you prefer?
You know, that's a funny thing. I don't know. Miami's weird. Kansas City, they could possibly win in Kansas. They could possibly win in both places. I'm glad they're in. I don't know what I want to choose here. Maybe, you know what? I'm still going to go with Miami. And the reason I'm going to go with Miami is because Kansas City finds that magic with Mahomes. And doesn't matter how bad they end up being, they find that magic. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'd rather go to Miami.
Well, can they play in Miami? They can't play in Miami.
The only way they go to Miami is if the Bills and Dolphins tie.
Oh, okay.
The Bills and Dolphins
they're either going to Buffalo or to Kansas City.
That's why I need you guys to explain it to me.
See, so that's why we're a triumphant trio. It takes all three of us.
If I was doing the show solo, we'd be We'd be rooting for the
We'd be in
Steelers in
South
Miami
Beach.
next week, which can't happen. Most likely won't happen. Buffalo. This is weird. They're both.
I've got a great Dave answer. Are you ready for it?
Go ahead.
Ask me at halftime of tonight's game. And I want to see how Miami and Buffalo are playing each other to see, do I really would if Buffalo comes out and is stomping Miami in Miami, then I'm going to be like, yeah, I might rather go to Kansas City. But if Miami, who's missing some people, is taking it to Buffalo, I'm like, maybe I would like Buffalo to sneak it out and get them, because if neither team's looking all that great, I really don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it's more about the Steelers. I know you could be down about the TJ Watt thing. I know you could be down, the Steelers, if they're not going to win in the playoffs, does it even matter and everything? You know what? We're getting to watch them play another game. And still don't take away from the fact that these young players can get playoff experience. There's only two players on this team that have ever won a playoff game in black and gold. 2. Cam Hayward, Chris Boswell. That's it. So they have an opportunity to do something that hasn't been done in a while. But if nothing else, look at all the guys on this team that have never been to the postseason. So bring on the experience, get a taste for it. If nothing, and that's the minimum. But you're in the playoffs. The sky's the limit. Anything could happen.
Hey, and I'm not here for a participation trophy. Let's win a freaking playoff game is what I want to say. But before we talk about Steelers and stuff and those different types of parameters, let me give a big tip of the cap to a couple individuals. Mike Vrabel, tip of the cap. My man, former Steeler, does the thing. Terrell Edmonds.
Wasn't he their first ever compensatory draft pick?
Maybe. Don't care.
By the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Terrell Edmonds, tip of the cap. Big game by Terrell Edmonds. Had an interception in the game. Trevor Lawrence threw 2. I said it on one of my podcasts this week. It was either Pez's picks or it was with Kevin on the whip round. I said Trevor Lawrence playing could actually be a good thing. The dude turns the ball over a lot, throws 2 picks. They were very costly. So big tip of the cap to those 2 former Steelers, one way or the other. But Derrick Henry has a big game. DeAndre Hopkins. This was what we wanted. The Steelers punched their ticket in the 1:00 window, and now we get to sit back and see where they playing next week, which I don't think they won't announce those until the game on Sunday night is almost sometimes they'll announce it early if the game is kind of out of hand. If let's say Buffalo's
Steelers
winning,
might have an idea of if this happens, you'll do this. If this happens, you'll do this. But we probably won't.
No, you're right.
Can I make a comment on that? And this is just editorial. When the Pittsburgh Steelers are involved and you realize the Steelers are going to be playing a very good football team, whoever they're playing, I have a feeling this is going to be a primetime game. So this might be Sunday Night Football. This could be Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Wild Card is a horrible idea. I hate that idea.
Yep.
I know why they do it, but I hate it. However, if the Steelers do get Monday night, they would have an extended break. Cam Hayward said publicly on his podcast he was really pissed off throughout the month of December, and then even into January, they kind of took away days, having them play on Saturdays and things like that. If they play on Saturday, obviously beat Baltimore. If they don't play again until Monday, they would have a little bit of an extended break, maybe get some players like Minka, a little bit closer to being 100%, as close as you can be. Trenton Thompson, get him potentially back. Isaac Seumalo doesn't practice anyway, so who cares? But all right, there's so much stuff that we could talk about. Everyone wants to know. Let's get this out of the way. You riding with Mason? Are you even entertaining any Pickett at this point? Brian, we'll start with you.
You can't. You can't entertain it. There's too much. You're kind of starting back when you feel like right now you have a continuation of something instead of starting over or restarting. And there's always that thing about a quarterback after they've had an injury break. It takes them a while to get the rust taken off, to get back into shape. Why not have the finished product right now, the continuation of one? So it's got to be Mason Rudolph.
Dave, agree, disagree?
I think that's what they will do. And I'm going to double down on what I said on the post-game show. I'm going to cheer so hard for whoever's the quarterback. It's not like I'm invested in one over the other. I just want the best player to give the Steelers the best chance to win on the field. Right now, I personally think, based on the play that we've seen recently, it's Mason Rudolph. It's not that I don't believe Kenny Pickett couldn't do it either. I just think that's the smart move to go with right now. But really, I'm just going to be ready to wave my towel for whichever quarterback's out there for the Steelers in the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure.
In the playoffs. That's the key. They're in the playoffs.
Brian, this reeks of, tell me the year when Bill Cowher was the head coach, Neil O'Donnell gets hurt, and Bubby Brister, I believe, comes in and plays really well to finish out the season. They make the playoffs. He goes back to Neil O'Donnell and loses. And everyone criticized the decision. And in his book, he actually wrote about how if he could do it over again, he would not have gone back to the starter. What year was that, Brian?
92.
Right. So if Mike Tomlin goes to the podium Tuesday, Monday, and Lord knows when it will be based on when they play, and he says, we're going back to Kenny Pickett, he's fully healthy, that would just reek of that same decision. I think you got to go with the hot hand. The dude's 3-0 heading into the postseason. He's not turned it over in terms of throwing interceptions. Hell, he hasn't even lost a fumble. He fumbled the ball, but they didn't lose one of them against Baltimore. I don't think, did he? No, Jaylen Warren lost one.
Yes, technically the one that took them that they didn't get the field goal at the end of the first half.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, but still, I think that Mason Rudolph's the guy you got to roll with, and he can have a short leash. Sure, it's playoffs if he's not playing well, but I think you got to go into this game with a guy that's won you 3 tough games to get there. So let's get a super chat here. Yeah. What do you want to say, Dave?
Oh, no, do the super chat, and then I want to say
okay, very good. From Steelers Nation Australia, which is Marky D, gives us $5 dingo. Is the Jaguars mess with the terrible towel? You never mess with the terrible towel ever. Trevor Loser at quarterback. I love it.
I agreed with you there, Jeff, that I was happy that he was playing because I thought
he's banged up.
Although, yeah, because he's banged up, I thought there's a higher ceiling, but I feel that there's a lower floor. I feel you could get the turnovers, and the turnovers really cost him. And honestly, if I also then didn't want to hear like people with, the Steelers only won by 7 against the Ravens' 3rd and 4th string guy. No, that they weren't their 3rd and 4th string guys. You can say that all you want, but just to say, they only got in because Trevor Lawrence couldn't play. No, just I wanted him out there. And I honestly thought that gave the Titans the best chance because I think they know Trevor Lawrence well enough.
Absolutely.
So,
now I'm going to throw a question in there, though.
What's up?
We could have came back with, Will Levis is the starter in Tennessee, and he's hurt.
Exactly. Yeah.
They had to win with Ryan Tannehill.
Here is my question. They were talking about the live chat because it really is a good question. Is what happens with the Steelers at safety, particularly Eric Rowe? He's not on the 53-man roster. He's on the practice squad. He's out of elevations. From what I could see, from what I researched, I know the 1 year they said unlimited elevations once you hit the postseason. But I don't know that part went into 2023. I know that was during COVID that they had that. I don't think that part came through. Not elevate as many as you can, but how many times you could do it. But, same with Miles Jack. You're going to have to try to find a roster spot for him. I don't think that one's as difficult. But the question is, you've got Rowe. You've got Minka, hopefully coming back, because I think if it wasn't for as bad as what the field was, I think he could have played yesterday. You've got Trenton Thompson. You've got DeMonte KZ. The suspension is over.
I have an answer.
I have an answer too. Jeff, go.
Isn't it a good problem to have though?
It is a good problem. Eric Rowe's on this team.
Yeah.
If they have to make a roster move, who they do? They cut Trenton Thompson. Cut him.
Boom.
Release him. That's what you got to do because you need Eric Rowe on this team. You Patrick Peterson.
Put him on IR.
Well, you can put him on injury. Put him on whatever IR. You got to do. You create a roster spot with him, with Trenton Thompson. Yeah, it sucks. You played well when you had the opportunity, but you can't make the club from the tub. So guess what? Eric Rowe's playing. Yeah, you can't make the team for the tank. So Eric Rowe's playing great. You can't be concerned with who was there beforehand. And Mike Tomlin famously says it all the time. One man's misfortune is another man's opportunity. And Eric Rose sees that opportunity. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I want to further on because the reason I said boom was that's exactly what I was going to say. And here's the thing. Trenton Thompson has played well. He was not playing on a DeMonte KZ level. He wasn't playing on a Minkah Fitzpatrick level. He was playing well and he was serviceable in there. I would love to have them both there, but you need to keep on going with Eric Rowe. And because I thought Eric Rowe played better than Trenton Thompson. But if you're looking at something, the club in the tub or what was it? The tub in the tank?
From the tank is what, no, the team from the tank is what Dave thought it was.
Yeah. Well, with any of that, it's just the continuation of it. I just talked about, Kenny Pickett, taking some time to be playing better when you just come off of an injury. That's the same with Trenton Thompson too. You go with the hot set of hands, not the hot hand, but the hot set of hands now as a safety.
Well, and not only that, with all those guys coming back to safety, do you consider going Patrick Peterson back to corner?
Yes, you have to.
I would as well.
Yeah,
but you have flexibility. You have flexibility.
I mean, it's going to be so hard to predict in an active list. Even to me, I think Miles Jack. I think they cut Blake Martinez and sign Miles Jack to the 53 because Martinez has been inactive unless there was the injury. So I think that's going to take care of that because Miles Jack's going to be there too. I mean, my goodness, those guys have come through in these last 3 games, ones that the Steelers absolutely had to win and help fill in so admirably for an area of the field that you're like, man, they're just trying to put warm bodies out there. It was great. So these guys are a part of, even if they're not going to get as many snaps, they are still all part of this team. And man, getting players back, you're like, it's nice to have a lot of players and figuring out how you're going to give them all snaps.
So something else to consider is a player. Let's say they like Trenton Thompson and they want him because he's healthy back. Elijah Riley could be another player they could get.
But they really need special teams.
They do need special teams. Trenton Thompson, I'm sure, can play special teams as well. But I'll say this about Patrick Peterson at safety, and CD from our live chat said he's slow to hit, go back to being cornerback. I agree with that 100%. You could see DeMonte KZ. Everyone's going to say he's a dirty player. Everyone says he's a dirty player. I don't agree with that. But he's also going to bring the boom if you go across the middle. Now, does his game change? I don't know. But ultimately, it's going to be we get to talk about this stuff for another week, which is fantastic. Like, this is great. I love having these type of debates going into the playoffs. So for those that might be joining us late, live, whether you're watching live on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, Steelers are in. We'll see who they play, where they play, what time they play, probably not to the wee hours of the morning. So make sure you're checking out SteelCurtainNetwork.com, as well as all of our podcasts, which is awesome. Go ahead. No Chill Will. He's a Titans fan here. Enjoy yourselves. So long as the Swamp Cats are out, we good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chill Will.
No Chill Will.
I'm paying for No Chill.
Yeah.
I'm making that a super chat.
You're tipping yourself. All right. I love it.
Yeah.
He learned that move from the Beehive. All right. Let's...
That's more like this. But...
Why are people saying that I'm talking about who's making the roster in 2024? Why in the world would we talk about 2024 when the Steelers are in the playoffs?
Technically, we are talking about 2024.
Well, it's the 2023 season.
Gotcha.
It's the 2023 season. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. So
yeah,
here we go. Todd Williams. He said, are we better at inside linebacker than we have been all season with Miles back? Well,
I don't know that it's better. I would say that it hasn't had as much of a fall off.
Yes. And I think that with the Landon Roberts really coming into his own has helped. And when you don't rely on Michael Walker to be an every down linebacker, you don't rely on Mark Robinson to play, extensive snaps. That's a recipe for success. That's how you do it. So, yeah, for me, I just think it's one of those situations where this is what they have. So TJ Watt's not going to be able to play. I would be stunned if they even entertain the thought of him playing. But if he's not there, you got to, Marcus Golden, he's going to have to step up. Young Herbig, or Mr. Herbig, as Mike Tomlin said in the mic'd up session, he's going to have to step up. Brian, what do you want to say?
Look, I'm going to do this. This is the most ridiculous thing, but I'm all for it. Did you see the video of Mike Tomlin going in the tunnel and over saying, off the couch, off the couch? Saw it a few times. I know this is ridiculous. I'm throwing it out there. Not going to happen. So let's sign JJ
off the couch. Actually, it would be from behind the desk, wouldn't it?
What's that?
Wouldn't it be from behind the desk?
Yeah, because he works for CBS.
Yeah.
And
I still on a couch.
I freaking love that. I love it that he broke the news about his brother. He didn't let Schefter or Rappaport. He's like, he talked to TJ. He's like, I'm tweeting this out myself. Someone's like, what's your source? It's my freaking brother is the source.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And also another shout out, Derrick Henry doing, saying his goodbyes in Tennessee. Yes, it put the Steelers in the playoffs, but kudos to that guy. I'm glad he got a win in his last game for the Titans. In what looks to be his last game for the Titans.
I like those big number 22s from Alabama. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And people have kind of changed their tune about the Najee Harris bust after the last 3 games where he's had some really, really good performances.
Hey, well, that's the thing. Things change so much with how narratives go. Like, what are we going to be talking about as the Steelers go into the offseason? Now, I can tell you what we're not going to be talking about. We're not going to be talking about the Steelers missing the playoffs again.
True.
That's what's great. That's not going to be what we talk about all offseason. Now, are we going to talk about how they do in the playoffs? What happens here? What happens there? That story's yet to be written. And it's so exciting to have the story continue.
Absolutely. And I think Leonardo Torres says it perfectly. There will be another post-game podcast. Yes, there will. All right.
I'll have another last-minute thoughts. Yes.
That's right. I have to ask you all this because now that they have punched their ticket, this is something that growing up in Wheeling, West Virginia, we were just crazy with superstition. So whenever the playoffs started and the Steelers were involved, we either took the trip to my dad's coworker's house. We all watched the game there, which it was a raucous environment. A lot of beer was flowing. I learned at a young age how to pour a beer from a keg. That's neither here nor there. Still, my dad has a terrible towel that just says Steelers. It doesn't say Myron Cope's terrible towel. It's like one of the original ones that was printed and sold. And it's his playoff towel. He does not bring it out of the closet unless it's the postseason. So that's like his superstition. And I want to ask you all, do you all have any playoff superstitions? Do you do anything special for the playoffs? Brian, I want to ask you first.
I actually don't. Yeah, actually I do. If they're winning, I wear the same jersey that I've been doing since they won. And I have not done that this year until this week. I bought it for myself for Christmas. I bought myself a Salute to Service Cam Hayward jersey. It's actually brown. And I broke it out for the Seattle game. And then I wore it yesterday. So it's the first time I've done that in a while. I think I got to keep on going with that jersey. So I guess that is my superstition.
Okay. Dave, what about you?
Well, I will tell you, during the 2005 playoff run, we had it was a stuffed leather Steelers football, just one of those soft ones. It was about this big, and we would have to pass it around to the right person, whether the Steelers were on offense, defense, or special teams. It would have to be in the air while the ball was in the air. But that group of people that I watched with for people that were family that no longer are, if you know what I mean, that kind of fell apart. But that was fun during that one. So I like to find something new every time for Steelers to playoffs. But I will tell you this. Remember when I didn't even put on my jersey the one game because I couldn't get motivated by the Steelers?
Yes.
And then finally it was the Bengals game, and I'm like, oh, it could be Cam's last home game if that depending on how things go for him. So I'm going to put his jersey back on. I've gone with the Cam jersey, but kept the Christmas Star Wars pajama pants. So it worked for that game. I went with the same thing for Seattle, even though I had company. It worked for that game. So I did it yesterday. It worked for that game. So I guess I got to keep my Christmas PJs out just a little bit longer, and my Christmas tree, because I have to have my Christmas tree on while I'm watching the game in order for it to work. All that stuff still has to keep going as long as the Steelers are in the playoffs.
Yeah, very good. Very good. I continued my dad's terrible towel thing. I don't get it out unless it's the playoffs. So it's been in the closet for a while. And I've been wearing the same, my kids prior to the Steelers winning 3 in a row. So before the first, what was that? Cincinnati, right? They said, we've got to go all in, Dad. We've got to get everything going. So I have Zubas, Steelers Zubas. I put on the Zubas. And I put on a Steelers long sleeve t-shirt, and I've worn the same thing every week. And they have too. So they're all into the superstitions. So I'm here for that. That's what we're doing. But I'm really anxious to see where they play or when they play. Which, by the way, let's just one more time. We'll talk about this a lot, but Chiefs or Bills, like let's go. Brian, did you answer that? I can't remember. I know you said Dolphins, but that's not feasible. So
I actually said Bills. There's something about. I think the Chiefs are gettable this year.
I do too.
But the Bills are not right. So I don't know. I'm going to stick with Bills right now and just say Bills. But whoever the Steelers play, like Dave said, it doesn't matter who they play. If you ask Mike Tomlin, you'll get the "we do not care," and that's fine. I'm just so elated to be on there. Both are going to be tough, but
yeah,
there's something about Buffalo. Well, then again, Buffalo's harder to win in. We've seen them win. Change it, Chiefs. Let's go, Chiefs.
I will say this, that I have so much Patrick Mahomes fatigue. Like, I'm so sick of seeing him and his sideshow bob hair all over the place. I can't stand the commercials, whether it's State Farm or the Head and Shoulders, where he ruins Troy's commercials all the time. I'm so sick and tired of seeing him that it would bring me so much joy to actually see the Steelers win in Arrowhead and send him home. Like, that would be fantastic, but I'd rather play in Buffalo because I think Josh Allen is a head case. And I think that if he has a couple bad throws, that thing can derail real quick. And
you know what?
We'll see.
It is the Chiefs, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. If you take my answer, I've been waiting.
I thought you were waiting till halftime.
I finally came up with an answer.
Wait, you know what?
What's the last playoff game the Steelers have won?
Kansas City. This is the Chris Boswell game.
So if they're playing the Chiefs, that means they're the 6th seed, right?
Correct.
Yes.
And then who is the 7th seed then?
Buffalo.
7th seed would be Buffalo. So Buffalo
beat Miami the next week.
If they win, then yes. Then they could possibly go to Baltimore. I don't want to be going to Baltimore the first week. After beating them twice, I just don't want to do that.
No.
Maybe that's crazy.
This is how it's going to play out, Brian. This is how it's going to play out. Okay, you ready? So we'll go ahead and have Miami beat Buffalo. That puts the Steelers as the 6, and they play the Chiefs. Steelers take down the Chiefs. The Bills, they don't lose 2 in a row to Miami. In Miami, they beat the Dolphins. Okay, and then that means the Steelers go to, you could say Cleveland. I'm going to say Houston. I think Houston's going to Cleveland. Okay, no, that city's dirty. Go to Houston. Go beat the Texans in Houston. Let Buffalo knock off Baltimore, and let's host the Buffalo Bills at Acrisure Stadium for the AFC Championship game. Spoon.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But that would be freaking awesome, though. That would be freaking awesome.
So bottom line is, if the Dolphins beat the Bills, there would be a chance that the Steelers could host the AFC Championship game.
So you're saying there's a chance.
I'm saying there's a chance.
Anyone out there listening, we didn't want this to go really, really long. We were just excited, and we figured there would be a lot of people that would want to join us and be excited with us. And there's over 760 people in the live chat right now on all different platforms watching. So yes, you are excited like we are. I'm so excited for this week where we get to talk about another Steelers game, and it's a playoff game. And so you're going to get my Let's Ride podcast tomorrow. If you missed the winners and losers, go check it out today on the audio only side. You'll get to hear Brian's bad language tomorrow. You'll get him and Kevin Smith. I'm excited for that. Here we go. The Steelers show on Tuesday morning. Dave Schofield, Stat Geek, on Thursday. He'll be able to, I'm sure you'll have a lot of playoff stats and information and history that you'll be digging into. And we're going to get to do another preview on the Steelers preview. Like, this is really exciting stuff. We all should be happy. Enjoy it. For this moment, just enjoy it. Let yourself enjoy this moment, because the season is so short and it's so fleeting that when you have all this off season that is so long and it gets so drawn out and it just, you're waiting. They're in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. And so this is when cue the beat, the bass pumping in the background, and you hear the "Here we go, dun 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 dun, here we go, dun 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 dun, here we go, Steelers, here we go, Pittsburgh's going to the Super Bowl, here we go."
See, I can't sing along because we have LA.
I still say the 1995 version.
Will be fine.
Yeah, so like for me, it's I still say Cower Power will get the job done, and then he'll win us one for the thumb. Like, I still swear I sing the 1995 version. I'll know that for the rest of my life. No idea.
3 points off at Norm Johnson's toe.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. So let's do some.
It's always somebody new's toe. Hey, I just thought of something, fellas. This is first of all, this is the most fun we've had on a post game show that hasn't been the Steelers in a long time. Steelers are getting a fresh opponent next week, one that they did not see in 2023 whatsoever. It seems like every single season there's usually a repeat in there somewhere, and this is one they have not faced. So this is a whole new opponent. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it is gonna be fun. Let's do some final thoughts while we're here. Dave, I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
All right, final thoughts. Does it really suck that happened to TJ Watt in this game and that we're assuming he's not going to be available? I mean, the dude is superhuman. I'm not putting it past him that he's going to try to get on the field, but it really shouldn't be. But you know what? Steelers defense, Mr. Golden, Mr. Herbig, you know what? You know what you guys need to rally to do? Hey, let's keep winning for TJ. Keep winning for TJ. Get him the chance to get back here and enjoy this as well. So that could be a nice little rallying cry. When it comes to the offense, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. Playing with house money. Mason Rudolph's been playing with house money. We'll find out from Mike Tomlin. We don't know if it's going to be a Monday or Tuesday press conference because we don't know if the Steelers are playing Saturday, Sunday, or Monday yet. So we'll figure that out. It might be tomorrow, a Tomlin Monday or Tomlin Tuesday on a Monday, whatever it is. Regardless, go out there, play hard. It's exciting for the fans. Are the Steelers going to be underdogs? Of course they are. They're going to be on the road. But you know what? It's exciting to get to watch them go play again. Go out there, show the NFL that you deserve to be in this dance. And anything can happen when you get down to the end of the game. Steelers being that team that wins close games going into the postseason, that really could be something. So stick around, see if you can pull it off the end.
Brian, final thoughts?
When I was a young lad, way back in the 80s, the Steelers go to the playoffs was just a beautiful thing because I was so used to these other teams in there. Because the 70s, I was a fan during the 70s, but I was young. I was under 10 most of that entire time. So when I started to know football, it took a long time for this to happen. And there was always doldrums, no matter who was in the playoffs, if it wasn't the Steelers. So you get that extra week. So I feel, again, like that young bad with a frollet. Yes, that's fro/mullet. That's what I had in the 1980s. It was fro in the front, party in the back. It was crazy. But I feel like that kid again. And I feel every time they were in there, anything can happen. One of my favorite games of all time, and I share this with Tony Defio, my buddy Tone Def. We always talk about that playoff game, Steelers and Broncos in 1984, December 30th of 1984. They were 13-3 and Pittsburgh went into Denver and just knocked them down. And I feel like something like that could possibly happen again with you. You didn't have a superstar at quarterback. You didn't have the guy at quarterback that started the season that year. David Woodley started the season. Mark Malone was in there. It just was something that this feels like it again. That was a 7-loss team. This is a 7-loss team. I don't know. I'm just elated. I feel like I have another week of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we all do. And we're going to share this week together. We're going to enjoy this week together. We're going to cherish this week together. And it's going to be beautiful. If we get that next week, I'm bringing back the Frellet.
Nice. I will say this as my final thoughts, that somewhere that's not of this realm, somewhere in the ether, there's a little dude, a little enigma of a person that's floating around, and you hear in the distance, yoy. And then you hear yoy. And then it gets louder. And you're like, what is that sound? And then it comes out in its full voice, like full throat. The terrible Tau is poised to strike. And it's Myron Cope after those effing Jaguars took the terrible Tau and they ran around, I almost said Heinz Field, my apologies, Acrisure Stadium with it, and they're swinging around. The terrible Tau is
and this carried the Steelers all the
there
way in 75. It imputes great strengths to the Steelers and, if need be, poses mysterious difficulties for the enemy. You'll see thousands upon thousands of terrible Taus waving out in those stands today. The terrible Tau is poised to strike. So are the Steelers.
And that's how you end an effing podcast right there. We will be back throughout the week. Check out SteelCurtainNetwork.com, Steel Curtain Network for your podcasts. Follow us wherever you get it. Guys, great stuff. This is freaking awesome. Go enjoy it. The Steelers are in the playoffs. We'll see you next time. Take it easy.
Go Steelers!
Curtain Network. Get it.
Everybody else gets a little tight.